to Bourbon and Branches and No BS, a podcast from the center of town, which beautifully enough is located in the center of town, 907 Charles Street in historic downtown Fredericksburg, Virginia. And now, your podcast host, Susie Woolham.
Good afternoon.
Yes.
How are you?
I'm so excited about this episode because, first of all, it's called The ABCs of CBD.
I know it's kind of alliteration, but not. It's sort of fun, right?
This is a huge topic because everyone is talking about this.
Everyone is talking about this, and there's such a huge amount of misinformation out there. And in our typical no BS format, today we're going to talk to you about a few basic things to help you maybe understand CBD on a more basic level. I know that you have heard people talk about CBD. I hear about it every day.
Every single day.
Every single day. And of course, we sell CBD products here in the store. But what's more important to me than selling a product to somebody is to help them understand and to educate them on CBD a little bit and help them find their way in this very, very confusing world of CBD.
I think I was talking in another episode about every single time I've been in the store with you, someone has walked in and asked about CBD because it is literally the hot trending thing right now.
It is the hot trending thing, and it's been around for a long time. But now with social media and with a lot of really intense promotion by companies, as well as the passing of the new Farm Bill in 2018, it really has become a much more headline issue or a headline subject, and people feel a lot more comfortable asking about it. But I still don't think that people understand what CBD is.
They hear about the benefits a lot, and they hear about people who say, I've used it and it's worked for me, and then they want that. And so they come in and they ask for that. But really, the 101 of CBD, the ABCs of CBD, is really like you're educating people when they walk in the door. I've seen you have these conversations, and that's really important.
Well, you have to. I have people who come in and they will say things like, well, I want 100% pure CBD. And I'm sorry, but that's not a thing. As a general rule, I guess this is a great place to start our ABCs. Ladies and gentlemen, CBD is not a thing. You can't grow CBD. You can't directly harvest from your field CBD. CBD is not a physical thing. It's not like a chair or a car or corn or carrots. CBD is first of all, stands for cannabidiol, and it is a collection of molecules that come from a particular type of plant. These plants and these molecules are quite varied. People think of CBD as only coming from marijuana, and I have people who come in and say, yep, I'm supposed to come in here and get pot oil from you. And I say, no, that's not a thing. So CBD, in its regulatory status, as it were, comes from the stalk oil of European-grown hemp. I know that there are farmers that are now beginning to grow in the United States. Until we have seen the cleansing effect of the plant on the land, because it is wonderful for cleaning our land, until we start to see the cleansing effect, my recommendation to people is that we stick with a European-grown hemp oil. It comes from industrial hemp, which varies from medical marijuana in the sense that medical marijuana plants are short and bushy because what do we want? We want leaves. This is typically what the consumer is looking for. Industrial hemp actually is more like a natural bamboo. It can be up to 15 feet tall, and the CBD is extracted from the stalk, not the leaves, not the flowering tops. There may be some incidental aerial parts that are used, but generally speaking, it's coming from that stalk oil. CBD is not a thing. The best way to equate that is to say that if you had a human being is a human being. You can see them. They are a physical being. They're in front of you, and there are lots of components inside them that make them a human. If you take their blood out and you put it into a jar, you can't call that jar of blood a human being. It's an extract from that human being. And by taking that blood out, the human being no longer exists. They can't live without the blood being in them. So this is a great way to look at CBD and how it comes from the plant. It's actually an extract of these molecules from the plant into a base oil, typically. So when people come in and they ask me for a pure CBD, that's where the education begins. They've looked on the internet and they've seen an advertising slogan, or they've been in a store and they've seen an advertising slogan that says that it's a 100% pure CBD. That's not physically possible unless you are out in a field somewhere chewing on a stalk. And even then, you're not going to come away with a 100% pure CBD. The other thing that needs to be noted about it is that people say, I want CBD for X, Y, and Z. I want it because I can't sleep. I want it because I have a headache. I want it because I have whatever. Will it interfere with this? And we're going to talk about that a little bit more later. But the one thing that is important to me that people understand is that human beings do not, in fact, believe it or not, have a Tylenol system. They do, in fact, have an endocannabinoid system. They have a system that creates and processes endocannabinoids the same way that it processes phytocannabinoids that come from plants.
What does all of that mean exactly? Are you saying when they ask the question, will this interact with ... The answer is always no?
The answer is always no, as long as, and here's a big red underline, and I'm going to stress this a little more, as long as you're purchasing a product that is coming from a European-grown hemp stalk oil, there is no interaction with medication. However, if you are purchasing a product that has been extracted from, and we're just going to call it medical marijuana, there's a fine line there, but I think it's easier for people to understand it this way. Mm-hmm. If you're extracting that product and it's a single molecule extract, the levels of THC in there can vary anywhere from 0.03%, which of course is legal in the United States and in every state, to 0.11%, 0.19%, 0.24%. Now you're coming into a THC level that is definitely going to show up on a drug test. It's going to cause some problems for the people that are taking it, and this is an issue that we want to avoid, which is why the only products that I carry and or recommend to people come from a European-grown hemp stalk oil. It's non-GMO, it's completely organic, and I know exactly what I'm getting when I get it.
This extract business, because that's a lot of stuff going on with the extracts, and to know what's happening with that, pretty important.
Right. So part of the problem with understanding that CBD is not a thing is that people come in again and they want a 100% pure CBD product, and they're not going to find that anywhere. So many companies, what they're doing is infusing a crystalline CBD molecule, and they're infusing it into, say, hemp seed oil or coconut oil or into another product. And these extracts are typically made using either butane, hexane, or ethylene.
And we don't want that.
I don't want that. I don't want to take that into my body. I don't want that to be a part of what I'm doing. And I certainly don't want to give that to my children or to somebody who's having a health issue. The one thing that I try to tell people to look for when they're purchasing a CBD or when they're looking at a CBD is that you definitely want to get a CO2 extract. You either want a supercritical or a subcritical. Again, we're back in the science zone. Won't bore you again, I promise.
But that says that right there on the... Does that say that on the product?
It does, in fact.
Okay, because you can easily find that. I think that it is hard. There's a lot of big words and a lot of like, oh my gosh, I don't know what's going on here. But if you're saying we should look for this CO2 extract, it's right there.
It's right there. Any product that is made via CO2 extract is going to say it right on the product. This is absolutely the safest, the purest, and the less interference with the actual plant product for you, and it's going to give you the best quality product that you can buy.
I have experienced people coming in and talking to you. It's very interesting because, you come in to this conversation about CBD saying, I am having trouble sleeping. I am having trouble with anxiety. I am having trouble with pain. I've tried to treat it with XYZ.
Absolutely.
I would like to change over to this. I would like to try this. This is something I would like to figure out because I want something better that's I'm not having side effects from. That's a big conversation.
It's a huge conversation. Of course, we never tell anybody to come off of their prescription medication, but speaking for myself, I have more and more doctors that are here in town that are sending their patients to me because of the education that I provide them to get their CBD oil. I carry a particular brand. I carry it in different strengths. I'm super happy with the way that it works. And the reason that I recommend this oil to people is because I feel like they're getting double duty out of it. Not only can they take it internally, but for instance, if they're having muscle aches, pain, a sore shoulder, they can also use it topically and they get a much greater result. So they see a bigger bang for their buck. Mm-hmm. It's certainly not an inexpensive product. I think that I try to keep it at a price point that's available to everybody, but it definitely is not a light investment. You have to think about whether or not this is something that you're going to use.
And you have different doses and different recommendations for people that are coming in that say, I want to use this for sleep, or I want to use this for, it's different for what you want to use it for.
Absolutely. Every person that comes in, I don't believe in a straight across the board, button up recommendation to people. I always talk to people about what they're doing. If somebody's coming in and they're having occasional anxiety, I'm going to have them doing just a couple drops, certainly not droppers full, but a couple drops once or twice a day. For pain management, I tell them to use it topically as they need to. It's certainly up to them. The point is to activate the body, and that's what this CBD does, is that it activates our own internal endocannabinoid system to work more effectively. To not get all sciencey on you, because not everybody loves science the way that I do, but our body and our endocannabinoid system, the way that it works is that it has, to oversimplify it, it has a cell and it has a receptor. So think of a ball in a cup. Every time that cup, that receptor, is activated, it creates a new cell, the ball. Every time it creates a new ball, a new cell, it creates a new receptor. It's a self-propagating system. So when you use things like CBD or even certain terpenes that are included in CBD, one of my personal favorites is beta-caryophyllene. I love you. You're my hero. Beta-caryophyllene is found in things like black pepper and turmeric and echinacea. Everybody that gets a cold reaches for echinacea. Most people now, especially that have any type of inflammation in their body, are reaching for turmeric, and they know how great it makes them feel and how it reduces the inflammation. This chemical constituent, beta-caryophyllene, interacts with that endocannabinoid system. It interacts with those receptors to activate that system. Once the system is activated, it continues to grow. It continues to produce more receptors. It continues to provide homeostasis for the body. That's its total sum job, is to keep the body healthy.
Wow. Literally, you just turned on a Bunsen burner for me. And that was awesome. Oh my goodness.
Thank you.
So before we get into the ways to introduce CBD into your life, which I know everybody wants to hear, when people are coming in and talking to you about CBD, so many times they are asking not only for themselves, but they're asking, I've heard people ask about their pets. Is it safe for pets? There's a lot of safety concerns. There's a lot of safety questions around that people are asking you about it.
There are a lot of safety concerns. And one of the things I always tell people is if you're buying something from me or from someone that I recommend, you can count on this safety level in it. You know that it's safe for you. You know that it's safe for your children. You know that it's safe for your pets. I work with a number of veterinarians here in the Fredericksburg area who, again, send their patients to me for CBD, both in dog treats and in liquid. I work with a number of doctors here in town. Again, I mentioned that, who send people to me. I have people from infant through end of life that come in to purchase their CBD here. I have people who come here just for an education on CBD, and then I know they go buy it somewhere else, and I'm okay with that too, because I know that at least they know what to look for. one of the most important things that I feel people need to know about CBD is that because of its chemical interaction with the body, CBD can be considered a polypharmaceutical. That means that it's a preparation that it contains several different constituents that work in the body in several different ways. So maybe you're taking it for sleep, but maybe the reason you're not sleeping is because you're having muscle pain, and maybe the reason you're having muscle pain is because you're having too much tension during the day. This will address all of that.
So we're talking about some of the best ways to introduce CBD into your life. One thing that I am just interested in your reaction to. Have you not heard every single day there is a new product infused with CBD? So
Every day.
I'm hearing about burgers infused with CBD at restaurants, and, you know, lotions and skincare, and there's a lot of question around, like, is that safe? Is that okay? Is this the same thing you're talking about? Should we just look for this European grown hemp stock?
I think it's important to understand these basic ideologies and what you're looking for. If you're taking it internally, what you want is a European grown hemp stock oil. I realize that as things change and as the regulations change in the United States, and don't get me wrong, I would love to be able to recommend a 100% United States grown product. The problem with that is, and the reason that at this time I can't, is that in 2014, the 2014 Farm Bill made it so that CBD from industrial hemp could not be grown/produced in the United States. With the 2018 Farm Bill, which was, of course, passed in December of last year, there are a lot of companies that are coming up now that are selling a United States grown CBD product. That's wonderful, and I certainly encourage small business to grow and do the things that they need to do. However, with industrial hemp, if you understand the plant and how it works with the land, it's very good at removing waste from the land. So it's a wonderful thing for farmers to grow, to help clean up their land, or if they have been growing things for a long time and they want to change up the ground, or if perhaps they have over-processed land and they want to grow something else there. Industrial hemp will pull the excess minerals and the waste out of the ground. I always recommend to my customers and clients that at least for the next 2 years, they not buy anything that comes from an American-grown product unless that land has already been certified as USDA organic, because you don't know what's actually going to be in that product.
Right.
And that concerns me. That's an issue, especially with somebody who has a health issue that they're coming in for CBD for. You don't need an additional case of lead or mercury or any of the other pesticides that may have been grown on that property. So at this point, I really do lean people toward that. Hemp stem cells are used in a lot of cosmetic products at this time, which is really wonderful because the way that, again, that industrial hemp grows, utilizing those stem cells for regeneration of cells in the body, even to just plump up the skin and make it look great, to plump up the hair and make it look great. I think it's wonderful. Again, you want to lean toward a company that you know has a clean record, has been doing a great job, and that their products are clean across the board regardless.
So you're talking about looking at the standards, and you already know that the standards from the European hemp stock they're higher. They're higher standards.
Much higher. They are the highest in the industry, and it's important to understand. And again, a company that may be importing, it's important to understand, are they importing raw material or are they importing a pre-processed oil? This is just another factor to look at when you're purchasing a product, but definitely leaning toward a European-grown hemp stock oil. We know exactly what that THC level is going to be every single time. I never have to worry about my clients having a problem with their CBD products.
Right.
It's just another level of safety that helps me provide them with the best quality product that I can for them and their families.
When people come in and they ask you a kind of open-ended question of, so what all can CBD oil treat? What is your answer to that?
I usually ask them how much time they have. This is kind of my wheelhouse, I guess. CBD in particular. I had a friend who was very ill many years ago, and I began researching CBD to help him with the symptoms of illness that he was having. So I would say at this point, I probably have 500 to 600 hours logged just of continuing education and seminars and classes and private talks and you name it, in understanding CBD and how it can work. The ability to reach out to some of the leading members in this community and talk to them and say, hey, I'm facing something now that I've never seen before. There was a recent boost from customers who apparently had seen something on the internet that said CBD helps you lose weight. And suddenly I had a lot of people coming in and I had to disappoint them by saying, well, that's not a thing. But let me help you understand why it's not a thing and sort of what it's targeting and what it's looking at and how maybe we can address that on a different level. I have people who come here for everything from, again, muscle aches, pain. They want to just feel better. They want to sleep better. They want less anxiety. They've heard that it will help with nervous tension, keeps them from stabbing their boss in the neck with a spoon when he really deserves it. All the way to children who are having trouble paying attention in school. I've seen a lot of parents that have started to do some research on that and are coming in to ask questions about that. People that are at end of life and are having pain and anxiety about where they're going, what's going to happen to them. Their pain is being controlled through medication, perhaps through hospice, but there's not a lot that you can do to control that questioning mind. So this is something that we can do to help them just relax.
And that's a big deal.
It's a huge deal, and it's a wonderful gift to be able to give them as well.
So we're talking about introducing CBD into your life, if maybe this is something you're educating yourself on right now and it's kind of new to you. One of the things that you talk about is microdosing, and then you refer to how to eat an elephant.
Right. People come in and maybe they've been taking another product or they've been looking online or they've been talking to somebody about taking a product and everything that they're saying is, well, I have to take 1 to 2 droppers or I have to take, there's these special instructions of what I want to do. And I always like to help people understand that microdosing is what's most important because, again, we're just using enough to activate our own body's natural system to do what it needs to do naturally. So I always ask them, well, how do you eat an elephant? You eat an elephant 1 bite at a time. So we start really small and we work our way up. If you need more, you take more. But I don't recommend starting with a high dose because you're not allowing your body to do what it does naturally. And taking too high of a dose, because I have so many people, and I know you've seen this, who come in and say, I want the strongest dose that you have. And I say, no, let's find out why. If you take too much, it stops your body from producing the way that it needs to. It stops your body from regenerating the way that it needs to because it doesn't need to because it has enough in there.
Right.
The point in taking this is to make your body bring itself back and to get back to that level of homeostasis.
Question, if I'm a vegan, can I change it to how to eat a palm tree?
We can eat a palm tree.
Okay, I was just making sure.
I am so on board with eating a palm tree, 1 coconut at a time. That could be a thing.
Are you ready to have a drink? It's that time.
Oh, it's that time. So today, since we're talking about CBD, since we're sticking in that zone,
yes,
I have brought for you.
Oh, it all makes sense.
It does. You know me. I like to pair things together. Today, I went with something a little fun, and this is, ta-da, Dr. Stoner's Smoky Herb Whiskey. This is so much fun. I thought we'd go with something a little different this week. One thing, since we're talking about CBD and Dr. Stoner's whiskey, one thing that people don't understand about bourbon is that every bourbon is a whiskey. Not every whiskey is a bourbon.
There you go.
So Dr. Stoner's is a light American whiskey. It's got a fun herbal flavor. And today we are having their recipe for a Dr. Stoner's sour, which is equal parts of Dr. Stoner's herb blended whiskey and lemon juice. And I have to say, I'm kind of digging this.
I'm digging it too. It is sour. So it definitely hits that. But then
that aftertaste.
Wow.
I wonder what that aftertaste could be.
Going on there. There's a lot going
on there.
A lot going
Definitely.
on. Yeah.
So if you haven't tried it, try Dr. Stoner's. It's super fun. We're enjoying it today. talk about CBD. If you have questions, please reach out. Email me, call us, push a button. There's all kinds of instructions on that coming up.